I never seen any other face. Hello and welcome on into this Monday's edition of Movie News here at MBE. That stands for Movie Burner Entertainment.
Yes.
We would just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and of course our Twitch stream. I'm one of your co-hosts, Stephen John McLaughlin. Our other co-host here, the man in the bright orange hoodie, who must be absolutely sweating his
I'm actually
rocks
alright,
off.
Stephen. I was
It's John C. Walsh.
sweating profusely, getting things ready to rock earlier with a t-shirt on, and I decided no more black t-shirts. For me, it's every fucking show.
Why not? It's easy to cut yourself out and all if we're doing trailer reactions as well,
I
John.
just blend into the chair.
Like me, I just wear black all the time. Hides the flab, you know, so...
Well, I mean,
For
I've
now,
gave,
anyway.
I gave up with flab, Stephen, when you're eating foot-long Subways and fucking waffles. I went back to the waffle last night.
Oh, did you go back? Yeah.
Ferrero Rocher waffle at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, you tried a new place, John. You were trying to get me to finish it off and I was like, not having it.
I had a scoop of ice cream with the waffle at 1:30 this
I
morning.
didn't have anything else to eat. Indian food does that to me. I just can't eat anything
Stephen
after
made a fantastic
it was okay,
chastney.
wasn't it? I had the rest of it the night as well, so...
It was very good.
Yeah, very good. But we're not
It's
here
very,
to talk
very
about food. We're here to talk about them
I'm
Beatles.
always ready to talk about food, Stephen. Always.
But before we do, John, obviously this is our headline, this is what we're talking about. Hi Matt, how you doing? How you doing?
The Midge, how you doing?
The Midge-year, yeah.
The Midge.
We're going to talk about this in a moment, John, but I think first and foremost, for anyone that's coming in, particularly from our Indian community, people were asking when's the next part of Gangs of Wasseypur coming out. We've had issues. We've already explained it in our
should have
community.
been out.
Yeah, well, it was sitting 14 hours in stasis ready. It was actually on our Patreon for a good 12 hours for anyone to go and watch it if they're a Patreon. And then all of a sudden this morning I woke up, I had this email, it's been blocked in certain territories. It's like partially blocked. Partially blocked means 73% of our audience.
It's India.
That's not partial to us. That's most of our audience. So
because they blocked Barbara Mastra pre-release video as well, and I checked the countries. It was available in the United Kingdom, the United States. Blocked in India. It's a fucking Indian release.
John, the version you picked as well was Hindi.
It was a Hindi one. We've done a whole thing at the start of the video. We've reacted to it because it's Hindi. Yeah. It's the widest language spoken in India. Now, some fucking Telugu company claimed the video.
It's I don't know. I don't understand the logistics of it, John. What I do understand is that someone in the community that says, why don't you just mute it? We can't, because it means we're muted as well. It's all on one track.
Stephen, I tell you, I watched their stupid reactions one because it winds me up when I see other channels getting these videos out and ours gets blocked. They just spent the entire video fucking speaking with the actual trailer off the screen.
We're not allowed to do that.
No one in the comments saying stop speaking.
Yeah.
Where's the trailer?
Well,
it's just us that get that.
Yeah.
Must be the face.
Yeah, it must be the face, John. And that blends in nicely to what that's a John Lennon quote, by the way. And that blends into what we're talking about tonight, and we're keeping it to one topic because I think we're doing some reactions as well. But not just that, we're talking about Peter Jackson's The Beatles Get Back, which is not going to take us half an hour. It might take a wee bit longer because we love the Beatles.
We do.
And we love this documentary as well. John, it won 5 Creative Arts Emmy Awards the other night there. This obviously article coming in from Collider.
This will be a shambles.
From a day ago. So when I'm reading this, it will say last night. Actually, it was 2 nights ago. But we don't do our shows at the weekend, so we're catching up with the movie news. Before we do though, John, there was something trending. I thought, did I change this? Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is going to appear in the next Avengers film.
That doesn't surprise me.
But I couldn't find any official sources. It was a Twitter account. I thought,
Tom Holland's not signed up.
No.
For Spider-Man for future movies as it stands just now. I think he will.
I think he will as well, John.
But as it stands, he's not continuing as Spider-Man. He's not signed any deal.
Well, he's playing hardball. Why not?
Toby back then.
Yeah, or Andrew.
Prefer him anyway. I'm no harm to Tom.
Yeah. Tom is just coming into his own though. This is the thing. I want to see that next stage of his Spider-Man.
It'd be horrific, wouldn't it, if he's fucking stepping off to become the Spider-Man we love.
It's almost like Luke becoming the Jedi at the end of the film, and then we don't see him.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Like playing this little annoying, immature guy that's in school, and then he becomes a man, becomes Spider-Man, not Spider-Boy, and then we don't see it. You better come back, Tom.
Yeah, you better. It's almost.
But until then, we'll have Toby.
Well, that's it.
Or Andrew.
I don't mind that. That at all, but in the meantime, anyway,
Steve, I always look as though I'm sitting about 3 feet closer to the camera than you.
I don't know. I think why. Because I'm sitting at an angle as well, John. Yeah. So I don't know what it is, but I don't mind.
I can assure you, I've not got a head that's 3 inches bigger than Stephen, and I'm certainly not fucking taller than Stephen.
And I've not got a Beetlejuice head either. I'm not shrinking here.
I mean, I'll move back, and you. I mean, that's probably more accurate.
Yeah.
To where we're at. But and then I can't control the actual show.
But anyway,
and I need to listen to the audio now because I've touched the mic.
The Beatles Get Back won in all 5 of the categories the 3-part series was nominated for at last night's Creative Arts Emmy Awards, which included Outstanding Sound Editing for a Non-Fiction or Reality Programme, Single or Multi-Camera, for parts 3, days 17 to 22, Outstanding Sound Mixing for a Non-Fiction or Reality Programme, Single or Multicam, for part 3, days 17 to 22, Outstanding Pictures Editing for a Non-Fiction Programme for part 3, days 17 to 22. This was obviously a standout moment.
You could read this straight off.
I could, I know, John, do you know something?
And it's in dark mode.
I'm going to actually do that. In Outstanding Picture Editing for a non-fiction programme for part 3, days 17 to 22, Outstanding Documentary or Non-Fiction Series, and Outstanding Directing for a a non-documentary, for a documentary non-fiction programme for Parts 3 days 17 to 22. John, I was
Is that
convinced
the ones, yeah.
I just rhymed off the same sentence about 5 times, but you said no, it's actually
Yeah, it's all
slight
different
differences.
things. Yeah, it's obviously single multicam. It's
But it's all about the Part 3, days 17 to 22.
yeah.
Now, I'd have to go back and see what those moments were, but I
I
kind
mean,
of
that's
get an idea what it is. It's a sort of...
the rooftop.
Yeah, it's the big sort of bit we were all waiting for. The
Matthew,
rooftop.
you are in denial, my friend. You may have forgotten post the game the other day when you were drinking the whiskey. Incidentally, me and Stephen had the whiskey from the flask that I took last week, a week back. Enjoyed that last night.
It was very nice, yeah.
I had one whiskey, Matthew. I was also more what the fuck do you call it? Compos mentis than you were. Matthew, we actually discussed the height thing. I stood next to you and I get a third party to verify that I was about 2 inches taller than you. I'm 2 inches taller than you, Matthew. I don't know what you're talking about. I told you I'm 5'10" in trainers. You're not. I'm bigger than you. Sit the fuck down. But anyway, sorry, Stephen.
Yeah, John, before I obviously pass it over to you now, there was another thing I wanted to talk about, was obviously Peter Jackson is pushing, or he's tried to push for a Jackson cut, I'll call it, basically the stuff that wasn't in the documentary to be added in as bonus material.
Yeah.
I think getting into this kind of documentary, you're all in or you're not in at all. It's not one of these things you'll watch casually. You're either got to be an absolute fanatic to sit down and watch, was it 9 hours or whatever it was. I don't know if it was as long as that, John, but it was maybe about 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah, it was about 2 hours 45, a couple of them. Well, the first two, I don't know what the last one was. It may have been a bit longer.
So anyone that has watched it, I don't think they would mind more, to be honest with you. It's not like a casual fan is going to sit down and watch this that not really got a clue what this is all about.
Well, first and foremost, just glad to see this movie, or this documentary. I always viewed it as a movie. I don't split it up. It's 1 9-hour
Funnily enough, John,
Beatles movie.
when we first talked about this, when the news broke about Peter Jackson getting his hands on the footage, we were very excited for this to be going into the theatre as a 3.5 hour movie, and I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, because you'd have lost so much. What makes this such a compelling watching experience for me, Stephen, is all the little fly in the wall moments, the little innocuous moments. They're having their conversations about pop cultural moments, what they were doing, how the dynamic was shifting as you went through. The bickering starts up.
Yeah.
They bring in Billy Preston. The little moments where they're drinking. You're seeing them sitting with a pint. Macca's sitting with a half pint. They're drinking wine. The little moment with John, when George is away and they're sitting bored, Ringo's dozing off, and he's talking about, well, I can tell you, they don't go blind, just very short-sighted.
I love that.
And he's doing what John does, commanding the fucking room, taking over the camera, enlightening the mood. Yeah. Things like that.
He could do that. He could be assertive when he wanted to be.
They would have been cut out of the movie, Stephen. He would have focused on the big bombastic moments.
I know we've done the review, and I'll probably stick that in the description at some point if anyone's interested in watching our review on this. There is moments like that, John. That moment you're talking about, the Boy Scouts, was stuff of legends. There was another little bit I thought was lovely with Mal Evans. I think he's wearing a sweater and he was dancing with Heather, Paul's stepdaughter. I can't remember what was it One After Night? I can't remember what it was. There was obviously music playing over the top of it. Yeah, it was just a great moment. It was one of those things I was like, do you know something? I'd love to see a Mal Evans film or a documentary or something like that. It was just to see from his sort of point of view, his life, and obviously his tragic end. Maybe that's something that maybe it'll happen one day. Maybe we'll get a Mal Evans film. Is he prominent enough? I don't know. You had these towering figures around the Beatles, the sort of your Neil Aspinall's guys like that. He's barely in it though. He was Dick Taylor, fucking barely in it. These guys were holding the fort financially in terms of rights and stuff like that. Derek Taylor, I keep saying Dick. He was the fucking director. Dick James was publisher as well. He came in, didn't he? Yeah. Well, they didn't like him at that point. What's Dick Taylor? Was that the director? The director was... I'm thinking about... Was there a Dick Taylor? Is that a person that exists? Dick James, there is. Who directed Hard Day's Night? I'm thinking of something completely... Dick Lester. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. So many Dicks. But Stephen, these figures were hugely important to the Beatles, and people who are fans of the Beatles are aware of them.
And again, Mal Evans, sort of roadie figure, all hearing, all seeing presence around the Beatles from the early days into the later days, doing a lot of the heavy lifting, playing chords on A Day in the Life. That famous Hammer stuff, the countdown, and it was A Day in the Life, but he done something on Dear Prudence as well, I'm sure. Maybe, may have not.
Did the countdown.
Done the countdown.
He also did the Hammer on Maxwell Silverhammer on the Anvil, didn't he?
You would have lost figures like that in a movie, a shorter cut. They would have focused on the four, and them constructing this album from nothing, and then so obviously finishing with the performance on the roof. You would have lost so much. I think it was a smart decision to split it into three. And I'm so glad to see, maybe not the first two parts getting the credit they deserve, but at least something from this incredible project, getting recognition, winning 5 awards at the Creative Arts Emmys. It deserves it.
I think
what Peter Jackson and that team did was miraculous, Stephen. We have looked at before and after video footage, black and white, distorted. This is on the same level as They Shall Not Grow Old. Even though it's like 100 years ago, They Shall Not Grow Old, this is only 50 odd years ago. The level of restoration, the colourising, the taking out the dirt and all the little artefacts in the footage, just the work they done on this was absolutely astonishing.
It's opened up the doors on a sort of technological level as well, John, for the way that Peter Jackson and his team are able to isolate the sound from actual film footage, which I didn't think was possible because it's all on the one track, it's all locked in, isn't it? They've managed to be able to do that. That's why we got the duet with John Lennon, the late John Lennon, on I've Got a Feeling, that Paul McCartney did at Glastonbury and other places, when he was doing his tour. You wouldn't have that without this documentary, and it's opening up the doors for a potential idea. I think they're going to go down the ABBA Voyage route, John. I think they are. They're going to do a live thing.
The issue with that is the ABBA thing they're doing. I know it riles up the likes of Lemmy because he hates the whole holograph thing. It's not holograph to him. I think he's thinking of some futuristic Back to the Future shit, and he feels it's going to be a letdown. In fact, it is a letdown just now, to be fair, the technology. But the trouble with that is, Stephen, they're using, for the ABBA thing, a purpose-built arena. Yeah. And if you start touring in other arenas that aren't purpose-built for that specific performance, it's not going to work as well.
I don't think it will, John. I think it will be a purpose-built one.
So it'll be in
that's
London.
What they did with the Love thing, didn't they? The Soleil, where it was all in Las Vegas, because you couldn't take it anywhere else.
No.
It was a purpose-built arena with the sound built into each individual chair, and to make it that event. And unfortunately, people like us are not going to be able to go and see things like that.
I'd love to have experienced that.
But I think if they did it maybe in London or something like that, it's more of a possibility.
Yeah, you can fly down.
I think the Beatles are on another level financially as well, John. They could probably have multi sort of arenas around the world, New York, LA.
Stephen, you're absolutely right again. Just the recognition this team have got for the work on They Shall Not Grow Old and on this, and what it has opened up, as she says, the keys and the doors it's unlocked for future projects. He is looking to do something with the Beatles again, another movie or some project that's going to be pioneering. I think he says when we covered that, the technology wasn't quite there yet, but they're getting there and quick. Doing work on things like this, what the likes of your John Favreau's are doing, your James Cameron's, because I always say Jim, the pioneering what they're doing, pushing the envelope in terms of technology and film and TV, it's opening up doors that were firmly locked for a long, long time. We're getting to the point, Stephen, where it is like Back to the Future. You're going into that bar and you get long dead people.
Yeah.
Fucking, maybe not in a robotic thing, that's stupid, but you're actually able to bring the dead back. Was there not a James Dean movie?
Yeah, he's playing the lead role.
He was cast in the lead role. We've not heard about that in a long time.
We covered that as well, and it got a lot of views, John, because a lot of people are interested in that type of thing. And I suppose you could look at the sort of how morally wrong it is. I suppose we had that when the Peter Cushing thing came up for Rogue One.
I love that.
With a lot of people not knowing the actual estate, his family, etc.
Greenlit it.
Yeah, they gave permission to use his likeness.
Do you remember Rogue One?
John, I still to this day, I mean, I know it's a bit dated now, and I can see Rogue One's actually making another run at the theatres in time for Andor. I think that's what it is. I think John Campea actually went and saw it once again. And I know that I know Spider-Man No Way Home's back in the cinema. It's back at number 1 again.
It's a different movie.
It's
actually there's more content.
More content, yeah. And you regretted not going back to see it, John.
I need to go back. Yeah,
it's your opportunity if it's in selected theatres. So, but getting back to what we're saying, yeah, I think it's an incredible documentary. I wouldn't mind sitting down and watching additional stuff. I've just came off the back of watching the 3 parts again. It took me. Was that just before Christmas it dropped, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I watched my life then for days. I was coming home from my work and seeing, oh my god, it's another 2 or 45 minutes.
That's great.
This is fucking great.
It was fantastic. It came out at a good time as well, just before, November 25th to 27th last year.
As a Beatles fan, that's what it's all about. It doesn't get any better than that. You're living in that room with them as they are creatively making one of the greatest albums ever. And you can get into sort of fucking bicking sessions over what's the greatest Beatles album, and you're going to get a different opinion. For me, it's Rubber Soul and Revolver combined, because I view them as a double album. It never was. That to me is the moment for the Beatles. They go from the sort of pop stars, the baby faces, maturing and exploring new sounds and stuff like that.
Dylan era, wasn't it?
They're bringing in the double track Fender Stratocasters. You've got the Epiphone Casinos coming in, just exploring new avenues, the backward sounds and stuff, and fucking Tomorrow Never Knows,
stuff,
Rain. That for me is the greatest era.
Pushing envelope,
pushing envelope, Steve, 100%.
Yeah,
guys bringing in
just the look of them as well. Probably the coolest they looked as well, with the suede on and the roll neck sweaters and stuff like that. But there's something about this experience as well with Get Back, John, that I really liked. Out with the music, it was actually just sitting in. It felt like sitting in a room with these personalities that you don't really see much of in that side of them. You know, sitting down and seeing, you know, John Lennon and Yoko Ono just sitting having a conversation, or maybe Yoko and Linda, you know, which I thought was very interesting. You know, I didn't realise there was a closeness between the two of them at some point. I just thought they were very standoffish. But
it did a great job
not to be.
It did a great job for the likes of McCartney and Yoko. I
think so.
The more balanced side to this film from Peter Jackson, it showed a new light.
I think
a new light on Yoko and her involvement in the band at that point, because she was viewed as a sort of the devil. She broke them up.
Just things that we know in the future, John, that they weren't privy to when they were doing it. The meeting with Alan Klein, you know, and Michael Lindsay Hoggs, or was it Glyn Johns? I think Glyn Johns was a bit wary of him, and Lennon wasn't having it, you know, and he was just, he's great, you know, and he said, but you know, he just says what you want to hear, and then when you ask him something he doesn't want to hear, he changes the subject, that kind of thing. It's so fascinating. We know all this information now about Alan Klein and what he was all about.
That's the one downside to John Lennon, though, sadly, Stephen.
Yeah,
he was very impressionable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
he had to have a sort of idol figure in his life at times.
I think obviously if you impressed him, that was it. You were in, you know, you were in
Magic
the circle.
Magic
Alex, because they liked his gadgets and stuff like. You saw him with that. What was that called again? The
magic
stylophone thing. You know,
I'm thinking about the fucking.
And he gave Billy Preston it. He was making a tune with it. Yeah, just within seconds of, you know, passing it over. But little things like that, you know. And I know we talk about the rooftop. We can talk about that all night long if you want. But it's little things like that. Billy Preston coming in, you can sense the mood changing and just fantastic. And Glyn Johns.
Stephen, he was a guy I didn't know much about. I tell you, getting into this, it was educational for me. I was aware of his name, but I didn't know much about the guy. I was blown away by how much he looked like Cillian Murphy, first and foremost. Cool fucking guy, wearing the specs, the leather stuff, coming
feathery, sort of
feathery stuff.
Thing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I almost feel he inspired George to wear that jacket in the Rooftop concert.
Inspired Big Bird from Sesame Street.
Yeah, you get these people coming in though, Stephen. These sort of peripheral figures coming in, who maybe only the hardcore element know about, and then you're getting to go on a journey and see their influence.
What was your standout moment on the rooftop though, John? Because I suppose that's what we should be talking about at the moment, because that is what these awards were sort of based around, was that sort of period in the documentary.
Stephen, they're saying the outstanding picture editing for obviously 17 to 22, we're assuming that is a rooftop. I thought Peter Jackson done a fantastic job of capturing that rooftop, and I thought the multi-perspective stuff,
I like that,
it's almost splitting off to the band, to other people, going down to the street level. I thought that was a really inspired way, because obviously the actual footage they captured, it wasn't native resolution for what we're used to today, wide. I think it's 16:9 or something. I think that's the actual aspect ratio we use. I don't know if it is.
It was designed for television.
It was designed for television of that era. Very boxy. So instead of stretching it up and losing some of the pop, he decided to go down that route, and I thought that was a really inspired choice.
Yeah,
Brilliant editing,
yeah.
and obviously it allowed you to capture various angles, various reactions, beat by beat to these songs. And then Stephen, for me, the standout was getting to see the whole performance.
Well, that John, you know something else? There was this little moment when the police officers are up the stairs as well, and McCartney turns round to them, and he just ad-libs a line that's not actually in the Get Back song. The police are waiting for you. So I can't remember what it was. I'm obviously making that up, but it just could not be bothered with them, and that was the sort of parting shot to the law.
Stephen, my standout moment from the Rooftop concert will forever be, I think it was Mal actually came in and unplugged or switched off.
That was the whole stalling thing, wasn't it? The Apple employees. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah.
From down in the reception area where they were just so laid back, the guy that was on the door.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't remember his name.
George Martin though, coming in the day of the concert and giving a look to the camera.
Yeah.
Then winking and walking away. Such an enigmatic figure, George. Fucking hugely important.
It's
guy.
funny, you talk about perceptions, John, and after watching the Beatles anthology and George Martin's sort of commentary on that, I always felt that it was a bit nose out of joint for the whole Get Back sessions. But when you see him in that, it looks like he's enjoying it. He's taking a sort of back step, allowing Glenn Johns to go in and do his thing, giving him that respect, but sort of in the background, if you need me, I'm here kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I never thought that until I saw this. So that's little things like that. It gives you an insight of where everyone was at that period in, the Beatles' time.
And also we get to see Magic Alex's failed project.
Yeah, well,
his 24th track, he didn't. To that day, that was about 30 years after, 20 years after, 25 years. He still held a grudge against Magic. He also begrudged the fact he didn't go to EMI. But I'm glad that, Stephen, look, you're talking about standout moments in this. I mean, also the Rooftop concerts there, that's one of my favourite performances of the Beatles. Just such a unique, brilliant idea to go onto a rooftop in the middle of London's financial district.
In the middle of winter.
Wind up in the middle of winter. Lennon's becrying the Epiphone Casino. It does murder your hands, I've got one. But playing it at that time in Britain, with those strings he had on, he had the fucking round,
January,
the flat wound, I think, strings they put on it. They were hardcore. I think he put heavy strings on as well, because obviously he was a rhythm guitarist. Yeah. So it would have murdered his hand. But just getting to see that insight, that was great for me. That's always been one of the more interesting things. Him fucking up the lyrics and then no Glitchy Bladgy Go Bludgy Goo or something like that.
I always like Ringo's reaction to it. He kind of puts his head back and laughs. But
it's the moment, the connection between him and Paul, that shows you that brotherhood's still there, even in the midst of all of this bickering, the band's relationships breaking down. That little eye contact and then they sing together. That brings them back. Stephen, seeing them performing again after so many years. Maybe being a studio, sort of hermit studio band.
McCartney did say, I think we've gone a bit shy. Yeah,
they had.
I think so, yeah.
Nothing sort of sharpens a band up
I
like
can understand
performance.
Paul McCartney's frustrations as well watching this documentary in terms of no one wants to make a decision and make a deadline and things just dragged on. And I can understand his frustration at times because I think he's a man that likes to be organised. He likes to have deadlines. He likes to hit the mark at certain days, make sure they're rattling out the songs, practicing the songs, and I don't mind anyone in a band taking that leadership because certainly George wasn't interested, John wasn't interested, and Ringo was just being Ringo. He was just there to support the guys.
Ringo!
And I don't mean that in a negative way. That's what Ringo was there for. He was the sort of glue. I always see him as a glue.
He was a punch bag. He gets sent to Paul to let him kindly asked not to release Ram.
Yeah.
And it didn't go down well. He get punched.
I told him to F off. Yeah. I'd love to have saw that.
I'd love to have seen it as well, I'm not going to lie. Steve, it's just the little moments we were speaking about it before we come on, the standout of this and what made it so special. Knowing these iconic songs and listening to them for me well over a decade, for you probably closer to 2 decades, maybe even 2.5 decades.
I never thought I'd see this, John.
But it's seeing them being constructed and such, and sometimes just a throwaway manner. John will say, I thought I heard that, and then that's the lyric changed to what we know it. Just laying down little tracks and you can hear it slowly but surely taking the form we know and love.
The wind can blow those clouds away.
Yeah,
changes to a mind.
A mind can blow those clouds away. You're seeing iconic songs being constructed before your very eyes, and sometimes it takes days, it's laborious, and then other times you'll see Paul come in the classic moment in this where he just starts hammering out Get Back. He starts off with a bass line.
Yeah.
sitting in that chair, I think George had buggered off. It's just things like that make it special. For You Blue, the classic moment, they're all going into the actual studio.
I know we're only talking about obviously that moment because they were based it on what they won the awards on, but there is a moment, I think maybe in the first part, I think it's the first part, is it the second part? It's obviously when George has walked out, it might be the second part, where Paul and John are having that conversation in the cafeteria.
It's caught, secretly.
Pinewood, is it? Where is it they went? I'll say Pinewood, it's not Pinewood, is it? Twickenham Film Studios, and that conversation was fantastic. It kind of reminded me that what I always thought about John Lennon in terms of when he wanted to be assertive, he could, you know, and when he was focused, he would lead. And
he was always a leader.
To be fair to McCartney, he did say, you've always been the boss, and I've always been the second boss. And I don't know, there's a kind of respect there, you know. I think John allowed Paul to have more free reign on the band in the later years, because I just think when Brian passed away, I think his whole mindset changed, and obviously LSD and stuff like that had a big part to play, and obviously the mindset between him and George. And I think Paul's assertiveness, you said it, John, if it wasn't for Paul McCartney, we wouldn't have got the last 4 or 5 albums, we wouldn't have got all that material.
And some amazing songs.
So you've got to respect the man, you've got to appreciate what he did for the other 3 as well, because I know Ringo jokes about it, we'd all be lying about round our pools and stuff like that, and the phone would ring, we knew it was him. Let's go back to work. But I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did.
Absolutely. I mean, they would have been equally as brilliant, the Beatles.
It would have ended at the Magical Mystery Tour, that's just the thing.
That's maybe not the best album to end. I mean, I like it. Yeah. Personally, I like Baby, You're a Rich Man and stuff like that.
Yeah, All You Need Is Love.
All You Need Is Love. Yeah. Flying, one of the best instrumental fucking songs you'll ever hear. Your Mother Should Know.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I like
Fantastic.
that.
A lot of good songs.
Very old fashioned, but I like it.
It is, yeah. I mean, that's Macker all over though, isn't it? Always.
Even the title track, Magical Mystery, I do like that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And Stephen, of course, the documentary. How can we ever forget the moment the Beatles are captured in a fucking chippy?
John, that's what always amazes me though. You know, and I think I said this on I think it's when we were doing the trailer reaction, I thought, is this the last footage we're going to see the Beatles? I don't know if it is, because I didn't think that chip shop sequence would appear in
Still
YouTube
to
at some
this
point.
day, Stephen, trying to ascertain what that juice was they were drinking. It's not Fanta,
no,
but it's an orange
It's definitely
drink.
Garvey's or Sol Ripe or Alpine or something. It's one of the chip
so
shop.
Good though. It looks so good. The glass bottle.
Yeah, the chip shop soft drinks.
Chippies.
Sometimes they're the best.
Fish and chips.
They're bad for you, so sugary, but good for
but if you're going to have a fucking chippy, then you
might as well go all in.
Exactly. There's no point drinking that. It's like these weirdos who drink diet juice while they're eating 20 pizzas and fucking all these crazy foods. It's like, bitch, all semblance of diet and worrying about the physique is gone the moment you put those fucking foods in your mouth. Just drink the juice. Drink the soda. Let yourself go. That's what it is. It was like me last night. You've ate the waffle already. Why not go and finish it at 1:30 in the morning? And I fucking did. And I had toast and cheese before it as well. With a burger sauce. With a burger sauce. I don't give a fuck.
Or Marmite.
If I'm nearly 13 stone, just go with the flow. It doesn't matter. The winter's coming. Winter is coming. I'll be fine.
The winter of discontent. Yeah.
Yes, but Stephen, look, all in all, man, absolutely delighted to see that Peter Jackson has been recognised. Not just Peter, but his actual team. I can't recall the name of the production team based in New Zealand.
I know his film one is called Wingnut. I don't know if that's the same for the sound stuff. I'm not sure.
Might be.
I know his production company with Fran Walsh, is it?
Yeah.
Is that his wife?
His wife,
yeah. Is Wingnut. So I'm not sure if it's the same.
Glad to see they're getting the recognition they deserve for their work on this, because it was stunning what they managed to accomplish. A lot of people will watch this and think, oh yeah, it's great, not realising just how poor the quality was, just how much restoration had to be done, and just subtle things like jazzing up the colours.
From an aesthetic side, John, I totally agree, but a lot of people will not understand the sort of legalities of getting this thing released as well, with Paul McCartney, probably George Harrison as well at some point, because George doesn't really come off that well.
No, he doesn't
as well. I'm not saying he comes off bad, but
he's
I can understand why. Yeah, he definitely
very
is.
Whiny.
I can understand why he had reservations, and that was my. That's why I mentioned the winter of discontent. That was one of George Harrison's sayings for that period in their career in the Beatles.
You know, my biggest issue with this though, it's the lack of digestive biscuits getting stole by Yoko, and the lack of punches getting flung by George.
Did it happen? That's the thing.
I think it did. That Stephen,
Well,
someone.
the whole sitting on the amp thing definitely happened because Paul McCartney says, in 50 years' time, which is now, that's how they'll see why the Beatles broke up with Yoko sitting on an amp.
Sitting on an amp, yeah.
So there you are.
And then he brings in Heather. Oh, not Heather. Linda.
Linda, yeah.
Yeah, brings
Lovely
in
Linda,
Linda.
yeah.
That's another thing for this. That's what I'll end with. Perhaps, unless we've got something else to say, in which case we'll not be ending. Linda McCartney never struck me as being the sort of traditional beauty. The traditionally good looking. She always looked. She was all right, but it's like, fuck me, Paul. You left Jane Asher to go with her. Really? Not that he left Jane Asher. Jane Asher had a career.
Yeah.
And it
I think
didn't
she got rid
jive.
of Paul, actually.
Yeah, she did get rid of Paul.
He
Paul was a
should've been
Hoormeister.
telling,
He was a Hoormeister sleeping out of her attic in London.
Yeah.
And then he was raging at her because she wanted her career as an actor. But she was much better looking. But I tell you, in this, you see actually,
She's a nice looking lady.
so that's, I mean,
Yeah.
it done wonders for Linda as well, jiving her up.
Yep.
But Steve, man, the final thing I would say, man, you can come back to the whole image restoration, the colours. You don't realise, unless you're a Beatles fan, what's been done. I remember the Help stuff. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. Where he's taking the piss out of himself. John, I'm talking about, of course. And they're jamming. It's in horrible black and white.
That's right, yeah.
And it's fuzzy.
That's the sequence. Hey!
We have bloody
Hey.
stars, you know.
Hey,
Fuck
face.
face. He's talking to Gun Jones. I didn't even realise that. That was
Yeah.
just some nondescript person I thought he was speaking to. Maybe even George Martin at the time, I don't know. Jeff Emmerich, he wasn't even there, I don't think. That was a White Album.
I don't think it was, yeah.
He'd fucked off, quite rightly so. After the White Album, I can imagine that was a painful process.
Yeah.
Having to listen to Wild Honey Pie and stuff like that for the 50th take, because that's what Paul was putting people
9,
through.
yeah.
Revolution 9, that strikes me as
Number 9.
that's a John creation.
Number 9. Number 9.
Stephen, see, going off on that, I mean, I'm going to get sidetracked here. I'll come back to it. I know what I'm going to say anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know if you've ever listened to that, again, fairly recently, but when you turn it right up and the conversation starts at the beginning of Revolution 9, it's almost like George Martin speaking and saying, I had a bottle of carrot for you, if you I knew, or something like that. You bitch. It's something fucking weird, like, you bitch, and it's something about a carrot. And I'm like, what the fuck is that, George Martin? What is happening? I don't think it is. I think it's just like footage used from movies
It could
and
be,
stuff like that. And
yeah,
they put it
'cause
all
I
together.
actually thought it was him saying number 9 as well, and it isn't.
Number 9?
Yeah.
No, yeah. But that was just crazy, avant-garde. I mean, even now, I've still not heard the Carnival of Light or something, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That infamous fucking Beatles track, it's still missing. Paul's sort of Revolution 9, because I'm pretty sure John did Revolution 9. He was all about Revolution. And 9, of course.
Number
Fucking
9,
obsessed with the number 9.
Yeah.
Dream number 9. What else, man? There was another 9, wasn't there? There was loads of 9s.
I think it was born in the 9th of
The
October.
9th of
wasn't it?
October, yeah. Stupid bloody Tuesday.
Yeah.
Might have been a naughty boy. You let your face grow long. No, but Stephen, getting back to the final thing I was going to touch on, the black and white footage, but the fact that they went in depth, they looked at actual images from the time period to get the colours accurate. I didn't even realise
That
John's
infamous
fucking
green,
green.
yeah.
I didn't realise it was that shade of green. It was almost a bottle green.
Yep.
That detail they went into, the
Almost matched the
painstaking
carpet,
process.
yeah.
It did, yeah. Seeing George's fucking incredible slippers. His slippers.
Oh, he had some terrible dress sense as well, though.
Boot
Some of his
slippers.
suits were terrible.
Yeah, fucking the shirts, man.
Yeah.
The infamous.
He was so thin.
Ladies and gentlemen, your host for the evening, the Bottles.
Yeah, the barrels.
The Bottles. John with his incredibly multicoloured striped shirts.
That was another thing, wasn't it? You know, obviously Glyn Johns had asked him a favour to present the Rock and Roll Circus, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was only part he really wanted him to sort of film in, apart from obviously his performance with Keith Richards and Eric Clapton and
Yeah, the Dirty Mac.
yeah, the Dirty Mac. I'm trying to remember the other guy.
It was the
Mitch,
drummer.
Mitch,
John
or
Mitchell.
something like
Mitch Mitchell.
I think, yeah.
Was that the
something
guy
like
from Cream?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, he was
yeah.
a great drummer. He was Scottish, wasn't he?
Well, I don't know, John. I might be Haven here. I can't remember. But yeah, it was just the fact that it was a bit. It was doing
John
Mitchell
Mitchell was Jimi Hendrix, wasn't he?
It may have been.
Because he was
It
Scottish.
may have been Jimi Hendrix drum. I can't remember.
I may be
But
wrong
it was
there.
the fact that John Lennon, he played it in jest, but I think he was a bit pissed off as
I
well.
think initially it was in
Yeah.
jest, but then in traditional John Lennon style, it started to eat him up.
Yeah,
This is a guy who, if you're not aware of, had a lot of trauma in his early years. Not a perfect human being. Hint, hint, wink, wink to the groups we're in YouTube or in Facebook who want to go after John Lennon posthumously and attack him for all his ills and issues he had in life. He's a human being. Human beings are flawed. They have moments in their life that shape them, damage them, make them better. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't an angel. Sort of contrary to how he's been portrayed since his death. But Stephen, this is a guy who had scream therapy after the Beatles split up to try and get his demons out and sort of free himself up, fucking screaming at the top of his lungs. This isn't a guy who easily gets over things.
No.
And I can sense as time went on, it was starting to eat at him. He's like, why the fuck am I introducing the Rolling Stones? They are fucking inferior to us. They copied us every 4 months. They did what we did 4 months later, but shiter.
If they were, what was it?
So
It
we
was
start
that
to eat 'em
famous
up.
line you said about them. If
They were great, then we were really fucking great.
Yeah.
I resent it. I resent the fact that Mick or something like that. That was a great interview. Fucking loved it. Absolutely fantastic. I love John.
I had the book on that. Lennon Remembers.
Oh man,
it was the Rolling Stone.
Stephen, there's nothing better than John when he's in a raffle state.
John, there's some great books out there,
Nothing.
from different periods, and John Lennon's sort of after the Beatles. Obviously, that one was just after the Beatles. Lennon Remembers it, probably his most bitter.
Yeah.
But then there's a double fantasy book that I lent you, John, which was an amazing read.
I read that in about a day.
So addictive and so funny.
Absolutely phenomenal.
His paranoia with obviously
yeah.
microphones and stuff. After obviously the FBI stuff.
He's right to be paranoid. I'm convinced he was murdered by them.
Yeah. Probably CIA. Yeah.
Absolutely. Bush Senior.
Allegedly. Yeah. But I think John. I think just an interesting man. You know, regardless of his flaws and his faults.
We're all flawed.
I don't blame him for that sort of the sainthood thing that was projected onto his image after he passed away. I do blame the likes of Yoko to an extent in that portraying him as an angel and the sort of Imagine anthem that they sort of propped him up with as well.
That was recorded 7 years before his death.
Yeah, and I just think it's a shame. But I think just guy was just a guy, at the end of the day.
He was.
He made his mistakes, he admitted his mistakes, and listen, the thing I take from obviously his life and the end of his life was, at the end of his life, he was probably his most content and happy.
You've just got to look at the sort of culmination of the guy's life. Was it mostly positive? Was he championing, I can never say that word, just causes? He absolutely was. He was a guy that was on the right side of politics.
And he's
stuff
40
like
years on the planet, John. He lived probably a life.
10 lives.
10 lives, yeah.
It was incredible. I was going to say something there. Yeah, end on the fact that one thing I wish would pop up in terms of fucking archival footage. You speak about footage getting done up. I want to see the Lost Weekend in LA.
Keith Moon
and Ringo Starr with John
Lennon. Harry Nelson, yeah.
Harry Nelson.
Yeah.
In LA.
Wow.
For a year. Just fucking drinking.
1974,
Keith Moon was a demon. This guy was blowing fucking hotel toilets up with dynamite. I want to see that. There's got to be footage of these guys out. Fucking, oh my, Stephen, if I could get back in a time machine any period, it'd be LA 1976 or something, was it? 75?
74, I think.
74.
I'm basing that on the Lennon McCartney type reunion thing, a toot and a snore in 74, the album.
Imagine being there with them. If you could give me a night out, where they do this whole thing, if you could choose 3 people to sit around the table with. Keep them
off the Brandy Alexanders.
No, get them on them. I'll fucking join them.
They want to fight you.
No, well, fuck, you can fight me all day long, and then we'll get back on them again. I'd be there. I'd pick that. I'd pick a night out with those guys. That would have been fucking epic.
Elliot Mintz would be there though.
Yeah. I'll replace him. I'll just fucking put him out the door.
Bury him in the sand.
Sycophantic weirdo. But Steen, look, man, I could speak for hours about the Beatles and
that
about
is
the figures.
Why, folks, we only picked one topic.
It is. Could speak for hours and hours and hours about every little thing about the Beatles, post-Beatles, pre-Beatles, during the Beatles, fucking Long John the Silver Beatles, everything, man.
Charles Hawtrey and the Deaf Heads.
Charles Hawtrey and the Deaf Heads, the Decca period where they're singing Cha Cha Boom and stuff like that.
Well, I think that turned out very nice indeed.
The whole thing, the whole shebang. Could speak about them for fucking days on end. Because to me, Stephen, they're the greatest, and no one will ever top them. You've got a lot of pretenders before and after.
On behalf of the group and myself, I hope we pass the audition.
What's your thoughts on Get Back getting 5 Creative Arts Emmy Awards at the 74th Prime Time Creative Art Emmy Awards? Did you watch Get Back? I hope you did if you're here. What's your thoughts on the restoration job that Peter Jackson and his incredible team over in New Zealand did? I thought it was fucking absolutely astonishing the work he did. If you've not seen They Shall Not Grow Old about World War One, go back and watch that as well.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. The what he did with that, filling in stuff that wasn't even there to make it fluid for the modern eye. What's your thoughts now? What's your thoughts on the documentary, movie, whatever you want to call it, The Beatles? Our discussions, anything you feel compelled to share, you can go down below in the comment section. That's the place to share the thoughts. We always like speaking about the Beatles. If you like the Beatles, share your thoughts. We'll have a conversation about them with you down there. If you don't like the Beatles, I'm just going to quote Graham Coxon again. I'm deeply mistrustful of anybody that doesn't like the Beatles. There's something fucking wrong with them. They're hiding something. No, get the fuck out of here. I've had arguments with people who don't like the Beatles, who says they were pop singing. No, they fucking weren't. Shut up. No one evolved as an artistic sort of fucking project, a musical group, more than those guys. No one. Get the fuck out. Comment down below if you get anything to say anyway down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon on YouTube to get notifications straight to your eyeballs. For more content on this in the future, I will not be here tomorrow. I will be at a football stadium watching the European Champions tomorrow, hopefully getting scudded, and I'm looking very much forward to it. Them getting scudded. You can do the same thing over on Twitch to see us over there. Hopefully back Wednesday. Are we doing a show on
we're back
Wednesday?
to normal Wednesday.
We'll be back to normal on Wednesday doing a show. Stick around for that if you've enjoyed it. Regardless of what you do though, thank you once again for watching us, and until the next time, me and Stephen are done. Bye.